Anyway, the third incident I'll talk about is what I already described as like the beginning of the end for me. February 2020, where I had said that, you know, I was just all night. It was just crazy, just the abuse, the terror of that night. And I just knew, I was like, this is never going to change. We're how many years in now? This is 2020. I've known this person since 2012 and nothing has changed. In fact, things have just gotten worse. Things are worse. I'm terrified every day. I'm scared every day. I don't know what this person will do. Scared for myself. I'm scared for my children. I can't live here. I can't be my full self here. Just scared every day. I feel myself just changing and just altering just to be safe. It's so unfair. The way these men harm us, it's so unfair. The way they hurt us is so unfair. I took a chance on you. I took a chance. I see all these red flags and I looked past them because I felt like I saw your humanity and you punished me for it. You harmed me, you hurt me. You made me pay. Made me pay. All of this is just the backdrop that I'm just trying to describe in terms of just the atmosphere of fear. And I'll say the first year of my marriage is where I'll say, I'm just coming, from living a life of independence, like myself. I'm still very much myself. By year 5, I had lost a lot of who I was. But by that very first year, I was still, I still thought I was me, right? So I was showing up as myself, and the guy did a lot in that first year to break me down with the constant raging, the screaming, the shouting. That's when he's drinking, the drinking that I didn't know anything about, that he had claimed he wasn't drinking anymore. All through the time we were dating, this guy, we used to drink tea all the time, would bond over drinking tea. Like, I never saw this guy drink. And then we get married, and the way he just did as if, oh, this just, like, I was so shocked. And then the drinking would aggravate, the anger, it will always be, it felt even more unhinged than it already was, you know? So all of that was scary to me.
Yeah, this is all very upsetting to talk about again. And as my sister has said, we'll just point you guys to episode 4 and 5 of the Authenticity Warrior podcast. But before we move on, there are just a couple of things that I want to highlight there, which is for our listeners, if you don't know, strangulation is not, it's not just any old red flag. This is documented and researched that it is an indicator for femicide further down the line. Once you're in a relationship with a man and he has put his hands around your neck and tried to squeeze the life out of you, the chances of him actually finishing what he started there and taking your life down the road goes up, I think it's 750%, if I'm not mistaken. And
we have this statistic on our page, Authenticity Warrior,
on Instagram, right?
On Twitter,
and Facebook.
So,
this is just, I can't stress this enough, that if you have been strangled
at any point in time
in your relationship,
it's like a countdown begins,
essentially. And my advice is to seek professional help for how to get out. Get out.
And it doesn't matter if they even try and do like, oh, we're just playing, or even during sex. Some of them like to have that kink. And I mean, I know some women and femmes like that too, but especially if they don't get the consent from you before they do that to you, it's a red flag.
And then another thing I just wanted to highlight there was, you'd used the term trauma bonding, which, I mean, in actual like psychological terms, I don't want to say like you misused it, because a lot of people think about it that way. What they do with that, it's definitely manipulation with the whole woe is me, everybody did, the world is against me and all this happened to me. But trauma bonding is actually something different, which is essentially the cycle of abuse. The up and down, the love bombing, and then the walking on eggshells, and then the big explosion, and then back again to. So that is what trauma bonding actually is.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for catching that. Yeah.
Right. So in all this like incessant raging and crazy anger and just fuckery, this guy had actually patronizingly provided you with a so-called automatic or instant off button, which is this whole kneeling down thing, which, I mean, is something that there's a cultural aspect for us as Yoruba women. This is something that is reinforced in religious circles, and you'll even see it just like on social media and things. So I'll just let you like expand on that.
Yeah. So this was like in the first year of our marriage. I'm still very much myself. Like, he hadn't fully broken me down to the point that he did, by the time I was escaping the marriage. So, I'm still like, I'm still holding him accountable for his behavior. I'm like, no, you don't do that. You don't behave like that. And my being my real self, he would just keep misbehaving, if you will. The abuse was just always on 10. And I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. Then one of these days he was just like, look, like, I have anger problems, how mad I get, how, crazy things go when I'm upset, that, this is what you're supposed to do as a good wife, when you see me like that, like, you kneel down for me, and then you just calm me down. That what that does is, when you kneel down, then I'll no longer see you as a threat. Then I'll calm down, and I won't be shouting and screaming anymore. All of that felt very weird to me. I'd never seen that kind of thing before. I'd never seen my mom do that. I'd never seen people that I know. But like, on one hand, I'm like, okay, is this the solution? Is this what will cause us to have peace in this house once and for all, where I will not just keep like walking on eggshells for fear of what I might do that might trigger this man, or, cause things to be crazy, right? And, also I had heard, even my pastor say things like that, oh, when he's angry and upset, his wife will kneel down and be petting him and be begging him. I'd heard other people say things like that too. And, the cultural aspect too as well, being a Yoruba girl, it wasn't a foreign concept to me. But I think I've mentioned already that I grew up pretty liberal in a very liberal household. So some of these elements I never really come in contact with before. But to be honest, I just wanted the shouting and the screaming and the raging to stop. So I was like, okay, if this is what he says will work, I will try it out. So one of these days, when, he was raging again, and this one, to be honest, I can't even remember the circumstances, but I was very, very scared, more than usual, where I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. The thrashing about I was scared. So I just said, okay, I literally dropped down to my knees. In fact, I was even afraid to touch him with how angry and like eyes red kind of anger. So I dropped down to my knees and I just started like rubbing his leg. I was like, sorry, like just telling him sorry. And I just remember him breathing. And, in my head, I'm just like, this off button better work. I bet. He was just breathing. Then it's like he simmered down. Then he stretched out his hand to me that I should put his hand there. I put my hand, and then he lifted me up from the ground and was like, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Now I know that you really love me. Now I know that I can really trust you. And, he started hugging me, kissing me. It's like the love, it's like everything just like there was peace and calm. And as someone whose love language is touch, like sign me up for a kiss, like I'm there for hugs, touching, love. But as he was doing all of that, like it just wasn't, I couldn't get into it because like the whole thing just seemed so confusing to me that he could switch like that. And then two, I couldn't shake up how I felt. Like I felt devalued I just felt devalued. I felt demeaned. I felt manipulated into doing that. Like that is not a natural thing for me to do, to kneel down. I know how to apologize when I'm wrong, but I'm not just going to just what did I even do that required you to behave like that? And then why do I now have to kneel down and be begging you and saying sorry? Like the whole thing just felt inauthentic. It felt inauthentic. It felt nonsense. And so I couldn't even be cuddling the love that he was doing. Like I couldn't even, like, the thing was just, it was like the ache. But it supposedly worked. So I said, okay, thank God, now we have rest. So another time like this, he got upset. And I did the same thing, that, okay, let this man not be shouting again. And he piped down, he simmered down. And then, it's like peace entered the house again, and that was it. But something stuck out in my brain as being different, in that, like, all that love that he managed to do that first time when I did that. This second time around when I did it, what I felt this time was a sense of entitlement. And that was something that I said, no, absolutely not. Number one, when I'm wrong, I know how to apologize. That's something about me. You can ask my friends. I know how to say I am sorry. And I'll take accountability. Number two, I was uncomfortable with all the theatrics of the kneeling down saying sorry, but the issue is still there, wide open. No, it has not been resolved. Number three, the fact that this man needs me to be on my knees for him to feel big, for him to understand that in his mind, that for him to click in his brain that, oh, she's sorry, that to me was a massive red flag. And I said, no, I am never doing this thing again. This is not me, and I will not do it. So I never did that thing again. And I can tell you guys that I was punished for it. You know, when sometimes when they are raging, you can tell they are raging on 10. It's like they kneeling, it's like he was trying to get me to that point to do that thing again. And I just never did. I just refused. But of course, when he's doing his nonsense, I'll be very still. I'll be like, I would never egg on that kind of energy. I will always just stay in my position and just be still, just taking the abuse, But I just said to myself that I don't care how much this guy rages, screams, tears up this whole house. I will never do that kind of thing again. And I never did. So, I think for me, there's no way he didn't get off on doing that to me. There's no way he didn't get off on feeling like whatever it is he needed to feel. But I reject that for myself. And I reject it for you guys too. Don't ever, ever. Don't do it. There's no way. I'm sorry, even for the people who are not millennials and want Gen X, the Gen X people, and above, the baby boomers. I'm sorry, but no.
And it's not no Omoluabi thing. It's not no, oh, this is culture, blah, blah, blah.
No.
The kneeling down in Yoruba culture is for elders. Elders.
I don't care if your husband is 10 years older than you, 15. No.
If it's not a generation removed from you, forget that. If it's not your daddy, even for daddies, please. When it's used as a tool, when the culture is abused, when it's taken advantage of, and you can always feel that energy, it's ick. Even in the traditional marriage, when they do all that, the wife should kneel down for the husband, Iranuni, I don't subscribe. Not over here at the Warrior Enclave.
No.
No. So, I mean, I'll give you a chance to give some closing remarks, or closing thoughts. But before we do, I just want to once again commend you for bravely telling your story, for showing your vulnerability, for doing the emotional labor of going back into that space and extracting the information for our listeners, for our viewers. It is emotional labor, but it's also healing. The universe sees your tears, the ancestors see your tears. You crying for yourself is a release as well. But again, I just want to acknowledge and validate the labor, and I just want to thank you for your courage and for your bravery for doing this.
Thank you. To be honest, I never expected to cry. Like, the last time I spoke about this was literally exactly a year ago. Because I don't talk about, contrary to what I'm sure they believe, I actually don't talk about them in my regular life. But with Authenticity Warrior, I do have to, because this is educational. I'm trying to save other women from this kind of mess, okay? So, speaking about this again, like, it certainly moved me, and there's nothing else to do but cry, right? So, but I do accept it and believe that, yes, amen, that these tears that I shed, God sees them and God is counting every single drop. So it is what it is. I think the final thoughts I do have to say is that, like, Some of you might remember a couple years back where like I was fully triggered, fully by some story of some person kneeling down for their husband, and I think he had gone viral.
Yeah, circulated on social media.
Some smelly story like this about Spain. I was kneeling down for my husband and all the love and the this and that, and almost kind of trying to frame it as if the blessings in their life was because of the kind of
The
nonsense
abuse, really.
that they were doing of, oh, this is how I carry my husband on my head kind of mess. I'm here to tell you all that's some mess, okay? That is some mess. You and your family will be blessed regardless. All that dirty, toxic bullshit is bullshit. No. Because stories like that, they lead women in droves to their death. This is no exaggeration. Go and look at the research, guys. Women are getting maimed, killed, harmed because of that kind of narrative. Now, they might be the one in a million that some way, somehow, they seem to be existing and thriving in their toxicity. For now. Who knows? If let them even thrive there forever, that's their business. But anybody that wants to try and push that kind of narrative, absolutely not. I will never stand for that. No way. Women, femmes, stand up from that floor.
Stand up.
Stand up from that floor. You cannot even, only those whose eyes are open can truly understand how much these men don't even deserve that kind of gesture. They don't. So don't ever do it. Please, I beg. Just I beg. In addition, I do want to say that for some of you that have stories like mine, you're just going to have to be patient with yourself. You did things that might make you cringe, because I'm not going to lie, this is something that is very embarrassing for me. But I have worked through it and I no longer carry the shame of that or feel embarrassed by it, which is why I can share and talk about it. I understand that I did it to survive. And because I'm alive here today, I did the job. I survived. So I'm not going to punish myself or feel shame that I acted outside of myself, because of conditions that were untenable for me, because of conditions that were inflicted on me, So the one thing I'll say to you is be patient with yourself. Whatever cringy things you've done to survive in this patriarchal world, there's no reason to feel shame. You didn't create this world, and all you can do is to survive the hand that you are dealt. And I just promise you, as you keep working towards your salvation, towards freeing yourself from your shackles, you'll be so grateful that you did everything humanly possible to survive your life and to make it to the point where you are thriving, you are enjoying your life, you have peace. I'm telling you guys, this journey is worth it. Again, don't look at my life and pity me. I am happy. I have joy. And I am blessed. And I want that for you guys too. So please don't stop fighting for yourself. I think that's all I'll say. So thank you guys for listening to my story. Thank you guys for following me along. And help me thank my sister too for, anchoring this segment for me. I'm so glad that I have her here. I cannot thank her enough for everything she's been doing, even just, holding my hand on this journey, literally entering the same shokoto with me on this authenticity warrior thing. Like, she didn't have to do it. She didn't have to do any of this, but she's here and I'm so grateful. So please show some love to her. in the comments, like this video, share, subscribe. Guys, this content needs to go out, so let it go out, yo, okay? Let it spread out to the world.
And send us your stories to authenticitywarrior@gmail.com. As we said, this is a watering hole for you. This is a safe space for you. We hear you, we see you, we believe you.
All right, y'all. Bye, warriors.
Bye.